broken down, broken down, 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 broken down, ah, broken, 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 broken down, broken, Welcome to everyone to Sauce Time Gaming. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video once again. And today we're going to be looking at the bar, the no recoil weapon that not too many people talk about, and likely because of its low fire rate. However, I'm going to be able to give you 4 different builds today that will at least make this weapon viable in some scenarios, or depending on the type of player you are, but will definitely give you a way better idea as to how you can build this out to enjoy some saucy gameplay. So let's get right into it. So as we run the tests here in the background, I just want to remind you that the video has these timestamps below that you can use to jump to whatever part of the video you want to take advantage of. And up here somewhere, you can go ahead and click on the rest of the recoil breakdown playlist if you want to find the best recoil setup for any of the weapons we've done so far. Comment down below if there is any weapon you want us to get to that we haven't gotten to yet, and we'll go ahead and hop on that as soon as possible. Now, with the bar here, pretty much the bar kicks up, right? It's all about the vertical recoil, so finding the best attachment that reduced that vertical recoil was really the best. It does have a little bit of that visual part, but I don't think it's too huge of a deal. However, a lot of people will probably not turn to the bar because of its low fire rate, and if you stack the sort of all the best fire rate increasing attachments, you get this weird recoil pattern that sort of kicks and then stops and kicks again, as you can see from the clip right now. So bear in mind that the bar, you'll have to kind of stick to a lower fire rate weapon if you want to use it for longer range. For maybe a short range build, you could use that fire rate increasing attachment, but we do have 4 builds here that you can take advantage of. So let's go ahead and get to those right now. So the first thing to note is that all 3 underbarrels that control recoil are good options. However, based on the barrel and magazine you use, you should weigh your pros and cons accordingly to make the weapon the best fit in terms of ADS speed and mobility, which tends to be the sort of downsides of the barrel you use. So the first build we have for you is the 5 attachment, pretty much 0 recoil build. Now, this one focuses on maintaining damage output without losing on fire rate too much. And the base build works as you can see here. We're running the CGC 30-inch XL barrel. This gave the best recoil control by far. We're using the .50 BMG 40-round magazine for the maximum damage output. Polymer grip, by far the best grip with this weapon. Hard scope gives the best recoil control, pretty much nullifies all the vertical. And the Chariot WR was the best stock out of the bunch, and with that you have pretty much the skeleton for this build. Now, because we're looking for a build that does not hinder the fire rate as much, we're going to be running the recoil booster here to increase that fire rate. The optic is whatever you want. This is something we always say, so whatever you find best is up to you. I'm going to put fully loaded here in the perk 2 slot. The underbarrel, the cool thing about this build is that you can actually use any underbarrel and your recoil pattern will not be affected. So what you saw is still going to be the same pattern, and if it's different, it's unnoticeably different. So it doesn't matter what you want to use, feel free to do it, because not even these attachments that affect recoil control will be affecting this recoil pattern. So this is a very, very flexible build. The fire rate again is not the quickest out there, but it is a very flexible build in this sense, so you can have fun with whatever attachment you would like to use on it. I would likely go with something like the SMLE pistol grip to get that sprint to fire speed, hip fire accuracy maybe in some scenarios, or the Mark 6 for that aim down sight speed, but again, completely up to you. Now in this case, the ammunition type You can really run whatever you want because again, we're not suppressed with this weapon. If you want to lose out on about 10% of your bullet velocity, then you can run the subsonic rounds. It doesn't hinder you that much, again, in the bullet velocity department. If not, you can run maybe incendiary or lengthen to get, maximum bullet registration. But with that said, this is pretty much the strongest build with the sort of, or not the slowest fire rate. The second build focuses on a low fire rate but steady damage range build with a striking resemblance to our previous build's recoil pattern, basically at 0 recoil. With this build, however, you have freedom to use any underbarrel that does not affect recoil control as a downside, right? With that, you'll be good to go. I'm thinking Mark 6 Skeletal will pretty much be the best one here because this is going to counteract the ADS penalty of the MX silencer. So just keep that in mind. Everything else is built very similarly to the first one, CGC 27-inch 2B barrel in this case because we're getting damage range. And so again, this is to extend our damage range as far as possible. With that very low fire rate, which we're getting from the .50 BMG 40 round mag, polymer grip, hard scope, fully loaded, chariot, WR, and whatever sight you prefer. That's up to you. And then the ammunition type is again up to you. If you want to aim for the longest fights possible, then go with lengthened. If you want to use something more interesting, maybe try incendiary. Whatever the case may be, lengthened is likely what I would go with. But with that, we have the long range, low fire rate build. For the third build, we are aiming for fast fire rate and low recoil, and it is achieved by building the weapon with the MX silencer, the CGC 30-inch XL barrel, whatever sight you prefer, the Chariot WR stock hardscope fully loaded polymer grip, and in this case we're using the 8mm Clouser 30 round mags. This one increases our fire rate and it does increase our recoil, although it does give us some recoil control as well. Now here, when we're talking about the underbarrel for this build, you can use pretty much, and I would encourage that you use any of the attachments that control recoil. The Carver foregrip, the bipod, the M1930 Strife angled, which actually does control recoil. It doesn't say it here, but in the previous patch notes that Raven had gotten out where they tweaked a lot of the weapons at the same time, this attachment was actually given a recoil control sort of buff. So keep in mind that this one does control recoil very similarly to the M1941 hand stop, which would be the last option that you could choose here. So I'll keep that in mind that you can choose any of these 4 attachments and you would be very good to go with this build. As you can see the recoil pattern right now. And with that, you do want to keep in mind that ammunition type has to be lengthened because you are losing on bullet velocity when we talk about the 8mm Clouser 30 round mags. So lengthen has to go there. And with that, we have the fast fire rate build. And lastly, we have pretty much the favorite here in the channel, right? The conditional recoil build, which is pretty much built the same way as the previous one we just looked at. In this case, we're using the same thing, MX silencer, CGC 30-inch, whatever side you prefer, Chariot, WR, hardscope, fully loaded polymer grip, 8mm Clouser 30 round mag, lengthened. In this case specifically, you want to run the bipod, right? And you're going to be getting the best recoil control out of it. The only downside is that it is conditional. You would have to be crouched or prone to actually be able to maximize on that benefit. If you are mounted, you actually get that benefit as well. Although for most weapons, once you mount it, recoil is gone out the window. But with that said, this is the final conditional recoil build. And there you have it, the best recoil builds for the BAR assault rifle. If you did enjoy today's video, I would truly appreciate it if you'd click on that like button down below and comment if you enjoyed this video or if you'll try any of these setups out. As well as remember that if there is a weapon we haven't broken down yet in the series, you can request its expedited video by leaving it in the comment section down below. With nothing more left to say, I truly thank you for reaching this part of the video and for being a part of the channel. If you want to watch all the regulars for Sauce Time Gaming, then subscribe to the channel. And until the next one, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Here's the best automaton build for you, and always remember, Sauce Time Gaming.